Welcome to the NRL Punters Weekly Digest, your one-stop shop for everything you need to know leading into this week's NRL matches. This is my Round 6 Team Lists edition. On the Thursday night, we have the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Penrith Panthers from Suncorp Stadium. I have the Panthers winning this one by 40 points. Could be more. No, I think they'll win by 40. For the Broncos, Anthony Milford has been famously dropped to reserve grade. His spot has been taken in the halves by Brodie Croft, who will partner Tom Dearden. Tessie New makes way for Jesse Arthurs in the centres. Ben Teo is out for up to 12 weeks with a biceps injury. His bench spot is taken by Ethan Bullimore. Whilst Pat Carrigan returns to the side from suspension at lock, which pushes Tavita Pangai Jr. to the second row and Jordan Ricky to the bench. For the Panthers, no changes in that clash. Friday night, we've got the Knights versus the Sharkies. For the Knights, 3 massive inclusions for them, with Bradman Best returning from injury, as well as 5'8" Kurt Mann, and prop Jacob Saifidi, who returns from suspension. Best return sees Gehamat Shibasaki dropping out of the side, while Connor Watson shifts to lock to accommodate Kurt Mann at 5'8". For the Sharkies, Wade Graham and Josh Dugan are both out with concussion concerns following their failed HIAs last week. Wade Graham is kind of like a week-to-week proposition at the moment because he's had 2 concussions in the space of 3 weeks, so they're monitoring that quite closely. Connor Tracy moves from the bench to the centres to replace Dukes, while Britton Nikora returns from suspension to take his back row spot. I've got the Sharks by 10 in this clash. Storm Roosters should be a cracker. A cracker that, albeit I do see the Storm winning by 14. I just think they're too strong at the moment, especially considering they've got no changes to their 17 from last week. And for the Roosters, Ben Marshke replaces Freddie Lussick at hooker. Freddie's out for 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured arm. They're very lucky to even have Ben Marshke this week, because if he had failed his judiciary hearing last evening, I guess as a result from an infringement from a reserve grade game, they would have had no hooker at all. And they would have had to have gone deeper in their stocks. I don't know, look at Jersey Flegg or something like that. Maybe the under 10s. Who knows? Saturday night, we've got the Seagulls taking on the Titans from Glen Willow Oval at 3 p.m. I assume that's somewhere on the New South Wales Central Coast, because Glen Willow Oval sounds like a small country stadium. That being said, I have no idea where it is. For the Seagulls, superstar fullback Tommy Turbo Tom Trbojevic returns from injury, and he takes his spot at fullback. Dylan Walker was injured anyway, so that's kind of a like-for-like squat. Like-for-like swap. Homoli Alakau Atu returns in the second row. And bench utility Cade Cust is back after missing round 5 due to an injury. For the Titans, no changes. Off the back of their win last week and the fact that they've got Tommy Turbo back, I've tipped the Seagulls by 4 in this one. Although this was a tricky one to tip, if I'm being honest. Could go either way. But I'm backing the Seagulls. Rabbitohs Tigers. I mean, this one's going to be a bloodbath. I've tipped the Rabbitohs by 30. I have no faith in the Tigers at all. I don't understand how they have no changes to their side from last week. Maybe it was on the back end of that second half showing against the Cowboys. They were down by a bunch, but they got some back. They could have won the game had Adam Dewey been a little bit better with the boot. For the Rabbitohs, Cody Walker returns from suspension, takes his 5'8" spot. That pushes Benji Marshall to the bench. Liam Knight has been named in the reserves after he had been ruled out indefinitely with concussion concerns, which means that at the last second he could be included in the 17. Who knows? Again, I've got the Rabbitohs by 30 in this game. Raiders Eels. This is a really tough one to tip. A lot of changes for the Raiders. Curtis Scott takes Sebastian Chris's spot in the centres. He returns from a rib injury. And Sebastian Chris returns to the reserves. Josh Hodgson is okay after that hip injury last week, or he's playing a bit injured. Either way, he is playing this week against the Eels. Caleb Akins, who was an off-season procurement from the Panthers, he takes Chance Nickel Klooster's spot at fullback. Chance is out for like 9 weeks with a neck injury, so hopefully he can come back sooner rather than later, but obviously wishing him a speedy recovery. So he takes the fullback spot, so that's his first start for the Raiders. Ryan James is out of the 21-man squad, and I'm not quite sure the reasoning behind that. I'll have to do a little bit of digging. Joe Tarpany is named at lock, and Emery Gula takes a spot on the bench. For the Eels, Dylan Brown has been suspended for 1 game, and Will Smith will replace him at 5/8. Ryan Madison makes his return to the back row after missing 3 games as a result of concussion, and that forces Isaiah Papali'i to the bench. Keegan Hipgrave has been recalled to the bench after missing out on last week. I have the Eels by 4 in this clash. On to our Sunday night games. We've got the Dragons and the Warriors. That one is coming to you from Netstrata Jubilee Stadium. For the Dragons, no changes from their 1-17 last week. For the Warriors, Peter Hiku is back from injury, and he takes the spot of David Fosatua, who suffered a hamstring injury in last week's loss to the Sea Eagles. Josh Curran starts in the second row, with Elisa Katoa dropping out of the squad altogether. I have the Dragons by 8 points in this game. I just think they're flying too high, and in fact, they could win by more. Last game of the round, Cowboys, Doggies. I have the Cowboys by 16 in this one, although who knows what could happen. It's the battle of the Nuffies, isn't it? Jason Taumalolo returns for the Cowboys at lock, which prompts a little bit of a pack reshuffle. Cohen Hess shifts to prop. Francis Molo goes to the bench, and Ruben Cotter is forced out of the squad completely. Justin O'Neill returns from a head injury and takes the spot of the injured Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. And Mitch Dunn grabs a spot in the reserves after returning from a foot injury along with Peter Holler. For the Doggies, skipper Josh Jackson is not in the side this week. His spot is taken by English forward Luke Thompson, who will start at lock. Chris Smith moves from the reserves to the interchange, and Matt Dury is the new man in the squad. That has been my NRL team list for round 6. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you like the video, give me a like and do the subscribe thing, turn on your notifications, all that stuff. And I will see you for my NRL Best Bets video.